Oh, the Bundlebuss. What a powerhouse. I made a video about a year ago on the best perks for this weapon. I'd highly recommend checking that out in the description below. The perks are pretty standardized, and I'm obviously spoiling them right here, but I do talk quite a bit more about the weapon, so if you're interested, I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. But the Bundlebuss is a very, very hot topic, and I know it's a fan favorite amongst most Save the World players. It's all I've been hearing about recently, so I'm recording this a few days in advance, banking that this will be coming out either soon or a little later, but also soon. So what I decided to do today was to talk about the Bundlebuss's best uses and a couple of loadouts that are really, really good for making this weapon as effective as possible. Simply put, it's an extremely high-powered single-target weapon. I used to use this for the Storm King for about the first 100 wins before literally the first 100 wins before I finally unlocked the Wrath, but the Bundlebuss got the job done. I used two of them, dual-wield, back-to-back. I don't have too much gameplay of that today because I didn't craft a second nature one before I made it triple crit damage, so unfortunately, I don't have anything to show you there beyond that little clip of the Storm King, but suffice it to say, it'll basically make this weapon twice as good. So if you can spare the extra inventory slots and you want to run two of these, you can totally do that. But I'm going to jump right into it and talk about the very first loadout. So we're going to start with a basic soldier build. This is what I use pretty much all the time, and I think this is going to be the most normal way that people will use the Bundlebuss, and that is as a secondary. You'll have like a Bobcat or any normal weapon just to clear out crowds of zombies. This will be your main primary DPS, and then maybe like a rocket launcher in the middle. I opted for coconuts here, which will buff your damage and your healing, and then the Bundlebuss is really, really good for taking out the fatties or the mist monsters or the healing hose or any bigger target that you want to focus on immediately. It doesn't chunk away a ton at a smasher, but I think it's like 4 or 5 bursts will take it out with this build, and it's a really, really effective way to just have some extra punch in your pocket. Obviously, if you're running a launcher, like I mentioned, you're probably not going to need the Bundlebuss. I'm going to level with you here, but this is probably the most basic way to use it. Moving on to the Storm King is basically the other way that the Bundlebuss is used. The Storm King is our example here for any boss fight where you're going to need to do hard single target damage and you don't have like the Storm King's Wrath or any other alternative. 2 Bundlebusses is a very, very effective way to take any big target down. I used my actual Storm King loadout here, so you can tell that it's not actually doing as much to the smashers. You'll see some of the later loadouts are here, but ultimately it was very effective. Now, I do have no damaging perks here for the Bundlebuss besides Saurian Might, and that's all coming from Lynx and Saurian Might. I have actuated attacks on the other stuff because this is a Storm King loadout. This is much more balanced for that exact fight. However, if you're running Lynx and you put assault crit damage and assault weapon damage and all those bonuses, that thing will shred because Lynx does about 140% extra damage, effectively more than doubling your damage. The Bundlebuss went from really, really good to incredibly powerful if you pop that kunai. And now we're going to talk about some of the more fun builds. I'm going to get into totally rocking out here before we move on to my first shot real loadout. You can probably tell where that's going. And I put all the damaging I could on this. As for the support team on Totally Rockin' Out, I opted for Fumble and Subwafers. I like Subwafers for videos and for general use all together because I can pop it and then know exactly when I'll have it active. You could totally swap Fumble for Battle Beat if you wanted to have a different variety there. I don't know that you'd be eliminating 10 enemies necessarily if you're using the Bundlebuss, but you could use like a triple crit damage Candy Corn LMG or something like that that's incredibly powerful, and then use the Bundlebuss for the big boys. And I did roll triple crit damage on this for some of these fights. You can see that I use crit rating double crit damage for a while here, and that was extremely effective. I think that's probably the best way overall to use it. I don't trust Totally Rockin' Out to provide all of my extra crit rating, but you can do triple crit damage. I wasn't extremely impressed, but it's definitely a way that you could go. And then I did assault damage, locked and reloaded. These are 2 great options. I didn't want to have coconuts and subwafers, so I actually went for first assault, which is kind of questionable. The first 2 shots will have 100% chance to crit, and with the tactical assault sledgehammer in the lead, that is a huge damage buff, but it's only for the first 2 shots when you reload, which you don't always do. You kind of want to run out the mag if you're using this normally, so that's definitely an option for you to switch out. But it goes to show that the Bundlebuss is like the king of crits, and it only gets stronger if you use Totally Rockin' Out. Let's talk about this last build because I think this is where the Bundlebuss can just be an absolute freaking monster. So it goes from a powerhouse to, I'm running out of English words to describe this weapon, but with first shot Rhian The Lead, the first 6 shots out of your magazine will have a 100% chance to crit. A good tip for using this build is to not reload after getting in fights. I know I'm somebody who likes to reload every single time I shoot, basically, and sometimes I'll do it in the middle of a fight even when I shouldn't be reloading, but with this loadout, you're probably going to want to save that reload as it is what activates your next 6 shots to crit. So whenever you're done with a smasher or whatever you're shooting, just don't reload right before you shoot, and that is actually how I started this clip, even though I didn't show it. Obviously, we want assault crit damage in the support here to make all of those shots do 75% more crit damage. Going coconuts is just nice to have in general because I chose for a blast from the past loadout here. You probably could do totally rocking out to buff your damage even further, but I wanted to show a bit of variety in this video, and you guys can mix and match as you choose. Assault damage is just good. I mean, extra damage is great to have. And with first shot Rio, you are going to have to be reloading after every single shot. So this is definitely the part where the triple crit damage build shines. So obviously I have reload on this, and that's it. Reload triple crit damage with first shot. If you reload after every single burst, I was taking down smashers in between 2 and 3 bursts. And these are 140 smashers. If you guys know my channel, you know that I don't show stuff in the lower zones unless I kind of have to or it's relevant to that weapon. If I'm showing you guys a 130 Bundlebuss and I'm a 131, we're going to be in a 140 zone. So you can see that this is hitting like the hardest non-boosted enemies, meaning if you're in a 144 player and the mission's begun, yeah, these smashers will be like 163. If you're in an event, obviously they'll be higher, but in a normal mission like a 140 zone, this thing absolutely shreds. And with first shot Rio, that is a super fun way to play. Now, going back to the roots here, like I mentioned from the very beginning, this isn't my favorite weapon. I don't use it regularly. In fact, I had to make that weapon gold just to show you guys, but I know that a lot of people are talking about the Bundlebuss, and because I already talked about the best perks, I figured it'd be a good conversation to talk about some of the best ways you could use the Bundlebuss to make it as effective as possible. This was a comment on a video, so I appreciate you giving me a heads up on this idea. I wasn't going to make this video otherwise, but I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with it. Have some fun. You know, it's a game. You're supposed to enjoy it, and with the Bundlebuss back in the game, it's a great time to take it for a spin and see what you can do. If you guys want to support the channel, I'd appreciate you guys using my code in the item shop. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me some suggestions or comments below. Let me know what you think, what I should talk about next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day. And then